What is up, everybody? Welcome back to RC's Gateway to Comics. Today we are going to be continuing our look into the various steps of creating a story. So, this is probably going to be the final step before we actually get into the actual writing part of this process. And this would be, at least for me, the portion where you're creating a story outline. Now, some people don't use this, some people do. I tend to use this a lot because whenever I am creating a story, there are several points in the creation process that I want to hit. And that may be stuff that is related to various set pieces that may be popping up in the story, events that may be important, characters that need to be introduced, stuff like that. I need to know where stuff is at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. And being able to write down a story outline is very beneficial to that, and it helps you to be able to have a clear vision as to where your story is going. Now, for my first book, Red Skies Upon Us, you'll see that it's basically just single sentences, maybe a couple of sentences of what goes on in the story from maybe like chapter to chapter to chapter, or from set piece to set piece, or character to character. And having all of this allowed me to see where my rough draft would go, and it also allowed me to plan for what I should be adding into the story. So if I was going into the story planning for it to be a trilogy of books, then I would be able to maybe even go in there and say, this is where a character may be introduced that is brought back in the second book. And I'll be able to have that in there, and I know I'm going to want to foreshadow that because I have that in my story outline. It doesn't have to be concrete because this is still just the creation phase. You still have to go through the rough draft and all the editing and stuff, but this will give you a good idea of where you can start. Because if you don't head into a story with a clear goal, then it may end up being a little bit more difficult for you. Now, as I have mentioned earlier in this video, there are some people who just write for the sake of writing. I cannot do that. For me, I have to have a goal. I have to have all this stuff at least planned out. Otherwise, I will find myself rambling and not really going anywhere. So, if you're one of those people who is just able to write and have all that stuff in your head, then you have my congratulations, because I myself cannot do that. And you have probably more mental capacity than I do whenever it comes to writing. So, good on you. But this is how I create my plot outlines. It even helps sometimes whenever you are creating like a whole series. And Lord knows I've done this several times now. Whenever I was working on the 5 books for the Red Sky series, and I'm going to cover this in a different video, but I only originally set out to have it be 1 book. It was going to be Red Skies Upon Us and then end. But at some point in that process, there was a little switch in my head which thought, I want to have this be several books. So I had to create an outline of what I was going to be covering in each of those books, who the villains would be, and what would be going on with the crew, and how they would be building as characters. So that is another thing that you can use the plot outline step for. And I would, again, highly recommend you take a look at it, and it will most likely help you and make your life a lot easier whenever it comes to that creation process. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you found it helpful, then please also leave a like and comment down below. If you have a different opinion on plot outlines, do you use them, do you not? Leave that in the comments as well, because I'm curious how many of you guys actually use them, and how many of you are gifted enough to just write away. If you would also, please subscribe to the channel so we can keep growing this space and help to continue to show you guys some lessons on how to get better involved in this creative process. Also, if you are a fan of pirate stories, then I would urge you to check out my 5-novel series, the Red Sky series. It is a story about a pirate crew sort of trying to become the most notorious pirates on the 7 seas, all the while trying to evade the Navy, or the English Navy to be specific, and fighting magical monsters, and with the captain of the pirates trying to win the heart of the daughter of a Commodore. So, if you would, go and check those out on Amazon and Kindle, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you guys all for watching the video, and I will see all of you in the next video. Peace out.